Well, hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. No, you are not in the wrong place. It's an intro to the tabletop role playing game that I've been half on and off designing and tossing away and designing back again and making modifications to. So no, you're not in the wrong place. Hello, welcome to RPG with DBJ. I'm your host, DBJ. Yes, to the side. Hopefully, we won't have our problems. You will have your comments appear because you guys are the brilliant ones. I'm just here as a host. But today and this week, we're going to discuss posthumanism and through the lens of tabletop role-playing games, especially the one that I'm designing. I will give you some clues into it, and I also hope that we can have an open discussion about the things about this game that are mature oriented and my desire not to sugarcoat some of the yeah. Yay! There we go. They did appear. Yes. They okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I just making sure. We've had some streaming issues and it seems to be like one streaming issue different per day. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, thank you very much for being here, but of course, we have to do the true intro, and this will give you an opportunity to get your snacks, put your feet up, bring your brilliance. Today, we're going to talk about this week, and especially today, we're going to talk about posthumanism. Today, we will talk about something known as jackets. Jackets are your body, and your zipper is your brain, and you can zip into a different jacket. And there's another role-playing game, Eclipse Phase, that talks about re-sleeving. In this one, we talk about zippers and jackets. So anyway, let's get through the true intro and get back into Obsidian Star. Hello, everyone, again. Welcome. Yeah, Drew. Yeah, yes, they are appearing. Thank you very much for that, by the way. He's so silly. Yeah, you revive in the jacket of a hot chick and can't stop. Well, that's a thing. As a matter of fact, I think one of the first things we're going to actually delve into is a jacket known as the Urani. I will be sharing. I can share out some images. I'm letting everybody know they are AI generated images. I don't have the money or wherewithal or skill to digitally create these images, but I'm going to find a way. I'm going to find a way to do it. Probably what I'll do is modify photographs and then use geometrics and anyway, I've got an idea to get along what we're going to do. But first, let me share out this list here, and I hope we're getting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We got this. All right. So let's see if we can just move this up just a little bit and increase the size. That's a little bit better. It's a little bit better. All right. Okay. So to the very left here, we have some lists, and the jackets that exist in this world are divided into 4 categories: servitors, ascendants, dregs, and adapts or adapts. And I needed a way to organize them. And the organization of them also deals with the fact that despite this world being on the outside, it seems like a utopia. Like, oh, well, if you could be anybody you wanted to be, wouldn't it just be a utopia? And that's not really the case. Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, I see a perfectly good reason why people don't like AI art. I get it. It's not like It's not like I'm going back like I don't know why you guys are upset about it. I get it. Let's change the. Let's see. There we go. But I like to give credit where credit is due, and so I think it makes perfect sense to be like, hey, listen, I've got this thing, and it's taking from somebody else's work. That's why remember when we talked about the AI systems and saying like, should AI be like a public utility? Like, hey, you built your multi-billion-dollar, in the triple digits of billions of dollars, you could give away most of this stuff to humanity and still be filthy rich. Um, mm, 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 mm. If you say so. I'm sure there's some people out there who just the mention of the thing will just set them off. So, but I agree. Like, I'm just going to use it as an example. All right, so um, here we have our first category are servitors, and servitors are servants. They were created ostensibly for, or have been relegated to, a position of serving the rest of humanity. And uh, within this setting, which I call Obsidian Star, or the system, or more specifically, I guess the Helios system or Copernican system. But if we just call it the system, that's our solar system. Um, that a large majority of the people view these servitors as servants for humanity. The problem is that, like, are there problematic issues with creating living or semi-living individuals to use as pawns or labor, or whether it's social labor or psychological labor or physical labor? Sure. um, and there, of course, is hypocrisy, right? There are people who are like, well, I've been against it this whole time, but they still look down at the people who are servants. And then there are those who don't mind the this is also hypocrisy. There are people who are like, okay, I don't approve of it. I don't I don't think we should be using people like that, but I still think they're lesser than me. And we today, there's a lot of parallels to our current state of affairs, especially as the world looks at the United States and how we are handling our social and political and economic and ethics and morality and stuff. Like, yeah, there's large swaths of people who look down upon other people, simply because of. You're so funny. Yeah, yeah. Some would say, and I'm not making a comparison to raising children, but some would say that there really aren't any pet owners. They're just servants of the animals themselves. They're like, yeah, I don't own my pets. My pets pretty much own me. Yeah, you guys get free food, get head scratchies when you want it. My tummy needs to be rubbed, and I'm sitting like, okay, okay. So the six are Cro-Mags, um, a a slang term for proto-humans of various types. I understand there's different categories, Neanderthal and all these other ones, but the word Cro-Mag stuck, whether it's scientifically accurate or not. Shrug, right? Um, the docent, which are let's see, they call themselves the Azore, but they're basically blue humanoids. I'm going to show you some artwork for them as well. Um, the Irani, which is a unique feature, which actually began as human freedom, because they are. This is the jacket that is gender fluid, uh, literally gender fluid. They can pick and choose any kind of physical gender identification, or display or function. There's the emulants. Emulants are they have a specific role in which whatever their skill set is, or design function is, they're extremely knowledgeable about that. But anything out of that, they don't have access to it. So, for example, an emulant could be made to sell clothing in a retail store, and they know everything about it and are extremely emotional about it. They can tell you all of the histories and really sell you this clothing. But if you took them to a coffee shop, they would be like, I don't understand. um, Farmers are human beings that have been or have either modified by an outside source or themselves to generate and create biological, um, medicinal services, of course, used heavily in the drug trafficking trade, but were actually designed that way so that on generation ships and long haul, that there is a way to ensure that medicines and things like that can be created, essentially using your body to become the medical practitioner for everybody else, and literally creating those things on yourself. And then there's autons, which are all um, autonomous machines. Ever since the signal, the big sci-fi thing that happened, the signal that happened beyond the Oort cloud, that overloaded every single digital system, digital network in the entire solar system. After that happened, they realized that, and especially after the many conflicts and wars and things like that, that if you want to have autonomous robots, you can't have them hooked up to networks because they'd be too easy to hack. So autons are autonomous machines. Basically, they are essentially born off of the factory floor, and then they're sealed off. And so they can link into systems, but they are not normal. That is not their normal nature. So whatever they were programmed with and whatever their function is, it's like a black box. You just get sealed up, and then they're able to operate. And if they start to they're not operate the way they should, there's more chance they're just going to be recycled than fixed. Although, as I've described all of these, there's a lot of nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Well, maybe we do, maybe we don't consider these people the way they are, as in life. Well, it depends on. See, what you need is a pedestal there, Drew. It's like, can I look down on other people? I'm not large enough for that. What you need is a large pedestal, or at least like a dais, or those waterfall stairs that they're super wide, and you get to walk up the stairs and feel very important. Sometimes there's like a red carpet thrown down those stairs, and that's what you need. You have to. Do I have to explain looking down your nose at other people? All right, so here, let's take a look at some artwork to get. No, yeah, that's not it. Yeah, there we go. I haven't touched this in a long time, and I actually drained some of these of the color. I wish I hadn't done that, to be honest with you. But I was looking for a black, white, red theme. So anyway, this is what we get. These are Cro-Mags, and the Cro-Mags are, like I said, they're the servitors, and they were designed to be mentally limited, biologically created to be mentally limited, and used for physical labor. The problem is that, as most things are, that you could, just because someone is biologically destined to be mentally limited, doesn't mean that's what will happen over time. So Cro-Mags, if they are not given intellectual stimulus, sure, they're just going to do their physical labor and seemingly not get more intelligent. The issue is that they're extremely fast learners, and which means that if you teach them something, they will very quickly learn it, and maybe even and I even made a little AI art logo here. Aren't I cool? Here we have the Urani. What did I put down? Gender fluid and free objects of obsession. And here's where we get into a situation where there was the idea. Okay. Maybe I thought about that too. So, uh, Drew says, speaking of robots and androids, if the signal made most tech into data cores, should then not be some living data cores around, like the walking and talking and stuff? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now, I did want to get across the idea that the finding them are rare. So if there's a person walking around, or a robot, or an android, or someone with brain modifications or something like that, that's walking around, then hey heathen, what's up? Then the idea is that, you know what, there's a possibility like that person might be, the minute that person is found out, they could be considered like a pariah to the rest of the system, or they could be considered a messiah, maybe. Well, and that's the question, right? That's the air quotes problematic nature of the Cro-Mags. Like, aren't they just modern humans? Yeah. Some would say no. Some, because and the reasoning for it, and I'm not saying this is a truism. I think the reasoning for them not being true humans is that many of them died out. So the theory is that they couldn't have been that smart, because all the proto-humans that died out didn't make it, and then there was one species that became human, if that makes any sense. So but also there's human hubris, right? Like, just because humans are smart doesn't make them that smart. And it's like, hey, I sure, and part of the reasoning behind it is, well, we're not going to make real humans do the work. We could sure make these proto-humans do it instead, like, cleaning the toilets and doing the physical labor that maybe machines and robots couldn't do at that time and whatnot. And also arrogance, human arrogance, right? Hey, I don't want robots around me, but I sure don't mind human beings doing all of my physical labor for me. But I'm a nice human because I don't have, I haven't underpaid regular folks. But these Neanderthals, they weren't that smart anyway. They're happy being thrown some fruit, stuff like that. Now the Irani, thank you. First of all, thank you, Drew, for enlightening me about certain things. What was it? The newsletter or newspaper or something from the 50s, as well as some other things. And I like the renaming of them as the Irani. But anyway, the Irani came about initially as a social experiment in this world. And the social experiment, as many social experiments go, really expanded. And the idea was for people to live in bodies that are absolutely, positively, completely gender fluid. And they can choose by season or mood or what have you, they could choose to have their external functions mimic what is in their brain or develop into other things. The problem with humanity is that if it's worth doing, we sure like to overdo it. And so while there is an underground of I guess you could call them freedom fighters in a social aspect, they are very much treated like objects and possessions. And they tend to be more or less relegated into social and, dare I say, sexual labor. And it's unfortunate, but it's a thing. And humanity has technology. They haven't increased their yeah. I would like to wake up in a Grace Jones jacket one day. Why not? Here's the other thing too that I thought would be an interesting aspect of this freedom here. First of all, I wanted to allow there to be. I like the idea of gender fluid heroes in my setting. F everybody else who has problems with it. In my world, we have the ultimate, I guess you could say, optional gendered individuals who are heroes in my world. But there's also, and I love to have conflict where there's also some people live this way and in our real world suffer through the idea of being able to express themselves, and they feel trapped, body dysmorphia, things like that, and social ostracization because of wanting to express themselves. But when you have the ability to and the money and the influence or the clout to be able to choose to be inside of one of these biological Urani bodies, you also have posers and people who think that they want to take a vacation, and instead of doing it for true socio-physiological freedom, they're doing it because, I don't know, they're bar bros and they're just doing it over the weekend because they want to have some fun, which also kind of undermines the idea of their existence in the first place as a faction. So there is that as well. It also brings up a good thing. Would sexual labor necessarily be so bad in the future when everybody can go around and jack as a super dope hot people? That's the other thing too. How shall I say, how much freedom is there in this kind of thing? I mean, hell, what was the TV show? TV show and a movie. Oh shoot, Serenity. I can't remember the name of the show. Anyway, in that television show, they had people who were known as companions. It was like the legal version of prostitution, more like geisha, really. But anyway. Yeah, exactly, Heathen. Yep, I agree with Shai. Sex work is real work, and attitudes have become more relaxed over the generations. Exactly. Or maybe we've become more. Maybe it used to be relaxed and then became, it went through its waves of extreme conservatism and then starting to relax a lot more. Yeah. Hey, you and me both. Yeah, I was born in the body of a guy who has to work all day long. Yep. Yeah. All right, so that's one of the these are two of the servitors that exist in this world. And when I say servitor, that means that if you portray one of them, there's an automatic level of prejudice that exists. And there's my logo, the AI art. I don't know if it's any good, but I tried to throw something together. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I changed their name. Yeah. I think I changed these guys' names. I haven't touched this in a while. See, do I have the other ones in here? I may not. Nope. Maybe so, maybe not. Oh, yeah. Here's one. Someone really liked it. Holo Sapiens. Digital life adrift in the tapestry, ghosts in the shell. I don't know if I want to call it the tapestry, because I like the whole idea of of fashion and threads and weaving and that kind of thing, or use it more nautical, like the flow. I don't know. Firefly. What word were you trying? I don't even know what that means. Yes, Firefly. Thank you so much. Heathen says, I was born in a body that can't stay together. Here's another reason why prejudice still exists, or I would dare say has expanded in this post-human world, and that is, and I am picking at the baser natures of human beings, but even today, with as much hate and such that exists, we still know that people's situations are not. No one asked to be born the way they are, right? No one, if someone's born around the world and they live in that place around the world, that's not their fault, right? But in a post-human civilization, the body you're in many ways is by choice. And other people will look at you and go, well, why did you choose to be in that mechanical or biological body? Apparently there's something wrong with you. And so you're being judged on the body that you're in. Now, player characters, of course, are going to get 2 to 3 options. So player characters are going to be able to zip kind of in many ways back and forth in the types of the bodies they're in based on the fiction that of the missions they go on. But for the most part, just because you as a player character don't believe in the politics and all that kind of stuff of the nature of the body you're in, you still may get judged upon being that individual. Yeah, most people. Yeah, I didn't have to be born at all, right? Boom, boom, right? Ching. Yeah, that exactly. But how many of us got to choose to be born? No, we were. We're just given the circumstances that were dealt to us. But in a far future world where you get to make and pick and choose those elements, I dare say you could even get to choose how you were born, which is weird. Or reborn, I guess would be more specific. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they just never have to up an ugly person again. In fact, they'd be in the hottest of the hot. Might be boring, but less bad than the current professional situation. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-mm-mm. I've heard about um, some people ask. Side note: I've heard about people asking for marriage licenses to become temporary, but like apartment leases, where like they run like 3 to 5 years at a time, and then at the end of 3 years, you have to the marriage is annulled automatically unless you renew it every like 3 to 5 years. And I bet something like that would exist in this period of time. But anyway, uh, Holo sapiens. So, um, well, actually, Holo sapiens are dregs. But anyway, let me see if I can. Let's go back because I skipped over some. So let me go. Oops. Hey there, buddies. There's some AI art. These little buddies are was an aside. I was trying to come up with some uh, AI art of like what would genetically modified rats, cats, and bats look like, and they gave and I put in it. I was like, make them extra cute, and this is what I got. What I got back, and yeah, they're little rat cat bats or bat carats or rabicats. I don't know what you call them. I don't know, but anyway, I thought it was amusing. So anyway, talked about Cro-Mags. Talked about the Urani. The Urani actually have their own faction base, surprisingly, in orbiting Uranus, or they might be in a chandelier city in Uranus or something like that. The planet. The Argent. The Argent are and I changed their origin slightly. That there are 64 human beings that have bonded with an artificial general intelligence that is, I think it's your Neptune, which is like one of the ice giants, and they have there and the moon Titan around Saturn is two of their huge main bases. But anyway, artificial general intelligence, and they explore humanity through their 64 different agents, um, and you can play one of those agents. Mm-mm-mm. They are the proverbial. They're the proverbial mystery box faction in many ways, because it's hard because as a general intelligence they're so far above humanity's thoughts they have to slow themselves down, but their agents are out to constantly consume knowledge and experiences to upload to the general intelligence. There's the Metallum. They are adepts or adepts or they're adapted to their environment, and they have like copper or silicone. They're copper or silicone based humans, basically. Alien strife. I tried to get this image to the left underneath under the mineral life alien strife kind of thing. I tried to find something like an ore. It kind of looks just rusty, but oh well. But I tried to find something. And it looks washed out too. Like I tried to get the AI art to get like what would a human look like if they were made out of like chrome or other kind of alloys, and that's kind of the best that I got at the time. And then there's Holo sapiens are the closest thing to ghosts in this world. Holo sapiens are the remnants of all of a digital footprint brought together as a personality that still exists in the tapestry, which is like the internet. And they do appear as holograms. They can interact with the world by interfacing with machines, and they're the proverbial ghosts in the shell, and in a literal sense. And so no one knows how they're created or why, some have very unfinished life experiences. Of course, there have been criminal organizations and governments and corporations that tried to recreate them to other people's dismay, but they have not been able to do so. And there's also a fear of them because they are digital information and personalities that they can flow from one system to another. And there's a fear that, hey, maybe they might go into people's banking systems or secret databases or things like that. And yeah, the difficulty of playing one is that, yes, you would be a hologram, so you really wouldn't have that much of a physical presence. I guess if you had to make an example, they would be the equivalent of a holographic bard in a fantasy game. They are attuned to one or more probably players in a group or a location and things like that. So yeah, Holo sapiens, kind of cool. I would even say I even have a little section here about why play a Holo sapien, and it's to play a digital ghost that is immune to physical attacks, to play a digital ghost that has complications navigating the physical world without a body, to help others finish unresolved lives, to play the support role for the constellation, which is a group of characters, is a constellation, to become a fly on the wall, to become a source of information and comfort for allies, to live as an enigma of science and faith. Kind of cool. Then there's the Crash. See what you guys have to say. Yeah. Is it silicone based or silicone based? I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so silicon without the E and silicone are distinct materials with different properties and uses. Silicon is a naturally occurring chemical element, while silicone is a synthetic polymer. Yeah, silicon is a key component in electronics and semiconductors, which is what I was referring to without the E, which I messed up. Whereas silicone is used in a wide variety of applications, including sealants, adhesives, and medical devices, and cookware. I'm thinking silicon, not silicone. Made from silica. Yep. Silicon dioxide. You learn you learn something every day, right? Like, oh man, so easy for the human the human brain just to get really comfortable in a thing. And especially as as geeky and nerdy as I am, you would think I would know the difference on that. Sure didn't. Oh, Heath. Oh, just missing some body parts and have health problems. Nothing so entertaining. I've taken care of a number of my relatives who have lost body parts to diabetes, and I'm hoping I don't go down that same path later in my own life. Digital ghost. Is there any talk of dis disembodying people's minds in real world science? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. Edwin says one is used in computers, the other breast implants. Yeah, exactly. Well, you could have said potholders or something, right? Yeah, silicon is used in computers. Silicone is used in well, you know what? Not just that. I think people get pec implants and butt implants. So yeah. At least it's not a silicone head. Yeah, exactly. All right. The creche are is based off of the word CRE. Shit. Uh, yes, CRECHE, which is a real word, which mean is the British version of creche. The way I just spelled it is a nursery where babies and young children are cared for during the working day. It's also known as a model or tableau representing the scene of Jesus' um, birth displayed in homes or public places at Christmas. Both of which apply to the creche, which you know, slang parlance. They are another social experiment of clones, and so they look kind of angry in this AI art thing here. Oh shit! They look kind of angry in this in the AI. Mother. There we go. Um, but that being said, in the image and whatnot, they are a clone society, and a social experiment. And on one hand, the experiment is still going on. So they are like very collective in the sense that they all have very similar traits to each other. They have similar music tastes, um, uh, almost, dare I say, they are the proverbial "you guys all look the same" thing, despite male, female, young, old, whatnot. And they are born in a um, they identify themselves family wise by all being birthed out of the same not same medical facility for their birthing chambers. And usually there's like one or more mentors for them to be assimilated into the creche society. And if you want to play somebody who's like in a socialist cooperative or something, you want to play a creche. But there's also like a dark side to this, and that is that there are a number of creche that really want to rebel against the system, but they there's an underground of the rest of the creche crushing those who really want far more individualism. Um, there also is like a really weird, shadowy part of the creche where when they come back together, they kind of do like a download of all their experiences so that they can spread that information to the other creche, which means that the proverbial, like, hey, one twin takes the place of the other twin does happen amongst them. And it can be a little bit dark if you're like dating one and then you end up finding out that you've been dating three other members of the creche and they just been swapping places and whatnot. Yeah, not too good unless you're into that kind of thing. uh, yeah. The novice are humans 2.0, designed from the ground up, redesign humans, redefining humanity. And the novice are designed to be space explorers and ultimately to travel to Alpha Centauri and Alpha Proxima, I believe, and other places Proxima Centauri, or I can't, whatever, Betelgeuse and other places like that. And they've been designed from the ground up. So they have like low light vision. They're resistant to radiation. They they prefer to live in zero gravity, something like that. And they have like a electromagnetic sense, which is, and their brain cases are bigger and are actually designed to operate with a higher level of cognitive function in some ways. And so, yeah, they're the Novus. No, they don't have monkey feet. There's another one that's called the Simian, but that's who the Novus are. And there's a little bit of a prejudicial arrogance to them. Like they kind of feel like they're the next step in humanity and evolution on purpose. Again, technology and things like that. Either it's true that they are arrogant and they feel they're better than regular humans, or humans think that the Novus are arrogant because they think they're better than us. Both are true and both are untrue at the exact same time. A little bit of a Schrodinger's arrogance, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I see. Heathen does mention. Oh, let me go back. Sorry. Member of the Shy Squad says the silicon thing is important because it theorizes that life forms on planets with radically different, i.e., hot environments, maybe based on silicon instead of carbon like us. And I also heard something similar about copper-based life as well. And so I would love to explore that a little bit. I'm an armchair person, so I don't have any like degrees in science or anything like that. But yes, carbon, silicon, and copper are very common things, and there might be some other life forms that are based on other elements. But yeah. Heathen says, "Ouch, diabetes is an inconvenient mess." Yep. Here's hoping you don't have to deal with that shit. Yeah. When I was a kid, I dealt with like my grandmother, my mom, my grandfather. They each had like amputations, and I had to like clean wounds and things like that. My grandfather's eye had gone away, and then my grandmother's toes, and then her foot, and then my mom's toes, foot, and then upper knee or just below the knee and stuff. Yep. Hey, I'm hoping some of these people put these AI systems to good use. Damn it. Now, Edwin says, so if you play a Crush character and your character dies, but you really liked playing them, you can just go This is this is John 2. Yeah, he is part of the same collective as John 1 was and shared in many of his experiences. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Of course. Is that a little bit of like a, how do I say this in a TTRPG parlance? Is that a little bit of like some kind of bullshit idea to keep playing your same character? The answer is yes. The answer is yes, absolutely. Oh, thanks, Nameless Warrior. Just dropping a like and leaving. Well, thank you. Thanks for giving me the finger. I appreciate that. Yeah. Oh man. That's awesome. You guys are so cool. So yeah, Edwin, you're absolutely correct. So in this world, this setting takes place with posthumanism, takes place within our own solar system. Yes, very much has allusions to the Expanse. I just moved it a couple hundred years forward to make it a little bit more, to get some of those sci-fi extravagances is in them. There are no real aliens in this world. It's all humans plus technology equals something like this, like the Novus. The Novus are adapts. How would you pronounce? How do you guys think you would pronounce that? Or mind you, you're typing, so you're going to be able to tell me how you're pronouncing it. But I'm saying, like, people who are adapted to living in an environment are collectively known as adapts or adapts. and the Novus are like that. Martians are in this category, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, the Novus are adapted to living in deep space, and like I said, radiation shielding flesh, high cognitive function, radiation shielding. But when it comes to like regular old humanoid kind of things, like standard gravity and things like that, not so much. Okay, so here we have the feral, and the feral are anthropomorphic animals and agents on front lines, now cast aside. Yeah, these are the proverbial. What do you do with your warriors when you're done using them? And let's be honest. Let me look around so I don't let anybody else know this. They're not done being warriors. And despite the fact that it's quite a bit illegal to even make ferals or have them available, there's an underground for them. Criminal organizations, governments, secret organizations, corporations. Of course there are. So what are ferals? Ferals are human predator DNA mixed together. It's a little difficult to see in this image, but the AI image wanted to take like cats plus a little bit of a lizard. The lady over here's got a little bit of like the lizard skin. Basically think lupines, felines, avians, reptiles. Kind of a little blend of all that. And they're like the half human, half they're the DNA spliced animalistic people. And they are they're kind of considered, are they the dregs of society? Did I list them as a dreg? Let me see here. I listed them as, yeah, they're dregs. So the four categories are servitors, ascendants, dregs, and adepts. And unfortunately, ferals are kind of thrown into the dregs. Dregs are like the bottom of society, right? They're below the level of servitors. They're not servants, they're actually dregs. And Homo sapiens are in that category. I forgot to tell you that strays, zeros, genomancers, cybrids, ferals, they're kind of they're the dregs of society. And actually I'll share this out temporarily. The dregs of society, because they don't have a place in society. And unfortunately, it's like being homeless here in the United States. It's not illegal to be homeless. There's just no place for you. Right? If you really think about the concept of, for example, being unhoused in the United States, it's not that you can't be, it's just that the way society has functions itself, there's no place for you to be. There is no place. I mean, yes, there are some places you can go that don't belong to somebody else for you to stay or have been assigned that way. But for the most part, our society is built around the fact that you need a place to live. Now, you might have some reasons why you don't want to live someplace. Maybe you're a nomad. Maybe you don't want to get caught up in a thing like that. Maybe you just don't earn enough money to have a place to live, which basically means just simply because you can't earn enough money relegates you to the bottom of society. And so in a way, all of these jackets are relegated to that point. Ferals aren't really considered like, can they move up in the corporate ladder? Not really. Are they good as like bodyguards or more like security forces? Yes, but they're not really trusted that way. Plus, like I said, because you can choose to be in the body you want, many humans, your citizens, are going to be like, why would you choose to be half animal, half human? Ferals are the equivalent of those people that have all the full body tattoos plus the body modifications of modern day. It's like looking at people like that, like, why would you do that to yourself? And that's where ferals are at. So let's go back here. So yeah, ferals. People love them when they're around and will cast them aside when they're no longer needed. And And as a player character, you can play them very straight. Like, I'm a half human, half bestial person. I'm a badass. I can run, fight, swim, track people with my super senses, run and leap, and and cling to things and whatnot, and all that kind of business. You could play it very animalistic, like you're far more bestial than human, or you could play it as a human that just happens to have the external features of an animal, but the way you play it doesn't mean that's the way that you're going to be treated. So there is a lot of like, what would be the term? Prejudice in this world. I want to see if this will fit in. I don't know. I'm still a little bit torn. Can I get it? There it goes. Little snap box. The docent, it means what it says. What's the definition of docent? Let's see if I can type this in here. There we go. A docent. In certain universities and colleges, a member of the teaching staff immediately below professional rank, or a person who acts as a guide, typically on a voluntary basis in a museum, art gallery, or zoo. That's who these people are. They are like blue plastic, bioplastic people who are servitors of a educational level. So they are assistants, they are teachers, mentors, sometimes negotiators. They are they're the secondary staff in a legal firm. They are the hey kitty, they're the teachers hired to teach children when they're homeschooled. They are medical staff. They are scientists, and yes, they are designed for service with synthetic servitude. So they are like the Cro-Mags do the physical labor. Docents are like the mental labor. They do a lot of computation, and they don't really function well unless they're serving others, and they've been programmed that way. And it brings up, this is another type of choice that will bring up the fact, like, do you really want to imagine playing a character who is genetically or programmed to be in service to other people, and they operate the best as like companions to other people, and yes, there is a bit of like a what's the term called, uncanny valley with them, but they've been designed to be the least offensively uncanny. And so they can kind of curl themselves up into a ball, kind of hibernate, turn themselves off, and then they can be activated when you get to your moon or space hab, and then operate and do things for you and things like that. So the docent, collectively, they do have a name for themselves, the color blue, the Azure, and they've kind of taken that upon themselves. But there is a bit of an internal conflict, because the conflict is how much independence do they want or need. And there's a weird, like, they want to be free of their service to choose to help humanity, if that makes sense. They want to have the choice to help humans rather than being forced to. Edwin's got a lot to say here. Okay, let's see if we can get this up here. You could call them ADATs, like the flash in the pan. Was it Alexis digital audio tape from the 90s? ADAT. Oh, I remember that format, if I can remember correctly. Maybe I'm misremembering. Oh, man, yeah. Our feral's going to be a good way of drumming up algorithmic engagement through outrage bait. I think this whole game is going to be outrage bait, to be honest with you. But I think it's going to make it more interesting. Let's see, Edwin. Okay, dropping knowledge. All right, Edwin underscore SU. Wonder what that means. Silicon reactions tend to, I guess, tend to be much slower than carbon reactions. I think physicist Brian Cox, which there's also an actor named Brian Cox. Anyway, remarked, quote, imagine on a planet seeing two oddly looking rocks, about 2 feet apart, and a few weeks later you come back and they are now 1 foot apart. You might think, well, that is odd, but it is the silicon based life equivalent of a cheetah chasing down a gazelle. I've I remember hearing something like that. Now, okay, science fiction, with a sprinkle of fantasy in there. I wonder if a human sapient species based on silicon would want to be slower for extended life periods. Now, that might mean that they are slower in reaction time and thought or what have you, but it may also be that extended life expectancy and things like that. So I don't know. I mean, and then if you combine that with other like body and brain modifications, like faster, like, hey, our biological system moves slower, but for shorter periods of time, we could, like, our brains and our reaction times can go faster, but it might build up heat or expend resources, biological resources like food and nutrients or something. I don't know, but I'm liking where this thought is going. Thank you, Edwin. Sorry if a better. Please don't spam. But if you're on Twitch and you want to have a large comment and you don't mind it highlight, because it does highlight on the side, you might have to break it up a bit. So just a reminder, just to let you know. But yeah, the brilliant people come on this side of the world. So thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, the docent are like designed for social servitude, and there's this weird dichotomy that they want to be free, and the docent or the Azore are not violent in their rebellion, as opposed to like Cro-Mag, putting down Cro-Mag rebellions and other things like that. The docent are very much built around diplomacy and envoys and things like that, and they want to get their freedom through legal systems and debate and things of that nature. And they also they want to be free, but they don't want to not serve humanity, right? Like, it's like they want to choose to do that on their own. And so and some of the conflict with the docent is that they are the closest to humanity that we can get. Now, I know that the Craniac, someone in the chat a long time ago really loved them, and I'm not really a fan of the name. I'd rather call them the Brill, but I've actually gotten rid of them. So anyway, here I put enhanced minds, dismantled bodies, they walk in your thoughts and dreams. And I've actually relegated them under the banner of the Zenith. So the Zenith are ascendants. There's a category of people known as the ascendants, and the category of ascendants, let me share this tab out right here. Ascendants are like better than humans. It's the best way to describe ascendants. Ascendants are like they've ascended to a higher level. They kind of think of themselves internally, and people on the outside look at them externally as they're just better than the rest of us. They've ascended to a higher level. And the Zenith are better in body, mind, and spirit, usually picking one or the other. I've kind of put the Craniac, I actually was going to call them the Brill, doesn't mind. These are people who have enhanced their body or their minds to a level far above and beyond humanity. Lunarians are moon babies. The Novus, I've already shown them to you. They're humans 2.0, designed from the ground up for deep space travel. The Kresh are a social experiment of collectivism. The Argen are artificial general intelligence that pick 64 human beings to engage with the humanity and the rest of the world. And then there's the um, adrenal or adrenal, or they have control over their adrenal systems. They're more of a monk cult than anything, but whatever. But let's go back to this image here, and then I'll let you guys go, because there's too much of this, too much. Anyway, these are people who have expanded their brains to the point that their brains are overclocked, and their skull, the actual physical skull bone, is it's too thick to allow the heat to get out. So they need to have easy access to brain enhancements and thought and sensors and linking into the tapestry, the internet, and things like that. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, like the urban legend of the people playing video games and passing out and dying because they're plugged into the system. I'm going to change their name. I don't. I like the slang term of that. Actually, you know what? I'll just do. I'll just put it on. I'll just put it right here. Anyway, the idea is that. Come on. The idea behind them. Seriously, come on. The idea behind these jackets, this faction, is that they value intelligence the same way we look at movie stars and sports players. Within their culture, they have mental competitions, and they value brilliance over anything else, sometimes to the detriment over their own bodies, their atrophied muscles, their endurance, things of that nature. Even to the point that some of the higher level Brill have ascended into the tapestry, the internet, and they're still respected there, just like they just step from one place to another. Even if other communities around the solar system don't respect that, they do. Their headquarters is around Saturn. Saturn is a technological and scientific hub, and just like what, 80 moons, 70, 80 moons around Saturn, and they happen to take that over. Their culture has taken it over. So yeah, unfortunately, when I say they walk in your thoughts and dreams, your private information isn't private to them. They don't really have that kind of. I mean, yes, they do understand what privacy is, but like for lower folks, especially the slower thinking folks, it's not really much of a thing. Now, here's the other image of the Zenith, where these are like paragons of humans, imperfect perfection, where these are the physical perfectionism of what we think of human beings. They are roided out humans combined with some of the they have all the hallmarks of our base brain that tells us these people are beautiful and sexual and enticing and alluring. And yes, they have perfect skin, perfect teeth, um, a vocal intonation that really sets them apart, and they're like physical perfection. Yeah, they're it's those people you're jealous of that just happen to be born with muscle, and then unfortunately they start working out, and you just start slapping your head like, damn it, did they stand in line like 5 times for extra great good genes? Well, these are those people. These are the Zenith, and yeah, that's who they are. That now I'm combining the Brill and or the Craniacs and the Zenith under one category, as like people who have enhanced themselves above human norms. And sometimes it can be mental, sometimes it's physical. There is an underground amongst these this faction that they are trying to reach a level of perfection that doesn't abide by legal standards. So there's like a gentleman's agreement to try to take each other out. It's known as the Paragon conflicts, and the Paragon conflicts are like it's like a chess match but lethal. So some are business people, some are like martial arts experts, others are assassins, and they knowingly try to take each other down a peg or even eliminate each other in this ultimate evolutionary. You're either better than your opponent or you're dead, and they are trying to do a forced evolution, socio political evolution amongst themselves that can lead to very destructive parts that become exposed to the regular population. But for the most part, some people don't even know it. And they use like clone agents. They'll use like poison and assassins. They will try to take put each other out of business. And it's like on the outside, you might be thinking like, why are these two people hate each other? And you realize, but internally they're like, yeah, we're part of the same faction. And so there is this kind of like paragon conflict that's going on amongst them, and in a weird way that proves the arrogance that they have. They do kind of think they're above the regular humans, and their philosophy is like, if you can't hold on to it, including your life, you don't deserve to have it. And um and as an even subcategory of that, within the Paragon conflicts, there are some that have created clones of themselves for the sole purpose of their clones coming after them to take the top spot, so that those clones learn from the other clones how to take out themselves to each try to reach the pinnacle of human perfection. So some of them have literally created clones whose only purpose is to fight against themselves, learn what their weaknesses are, and then keep evolving themselves. It's kind of a, yeah. Like I said, players don't actually have to abide by that, but you'll be judged on being abided by that in the first place. Why did I even? That's weird. Why did I do that? Um, Martians. Martians are. I'm going too long here. TA, hey, what's going on there? Mm, 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 mm. TA says intelligence is useless without wisdom. I agree, which is what gives creativity. So nothing but intelligence would mean they just are good at regurgitating info, but ask them to do something new. Yeah, I've had someone clarify that evil is intelligence without wisdom. I could very much see that. So demons can sound incredibly smart, spitting out facts, but can't do anything with them as they have zero wisdom and creativity. And I think along with that would be some kind of moral and or ethical morals or ethics mixed in there. Like, not it's not whether we should or shouldn't be doing a thing, but to what extent should or shouldn't we be doing the thing if we're going to do it in the first place? I mean, there are some who are like, we should not do this technology because it's bad. And then there's others who go, no, we probably need to do this, whatever technological or advancement or science or something, but how do we implement it for the best? And some feel AI will have no reason to exterminate human life, like Cyberdyne systems and Skynet, because it would be useless. Like, real scientific advancement is not about destroying resources, but enhancing those resources. So some feel that AI might not be our enemy, but might want to enhance us so that we enhance it, and vice versa. That we would be a resource like any other resource. Maybe not a human battery, but you get it. TA says, I still think the reason there is so much more silicon than carbon here, and carbon forms at much lower temps. Yeah, so the Earth had to cool down for it to stabilize in molecules of life. I've heard that. And the Earth's crust is a giant living silicon life form, and it made carbon life to mimic it in smaller form to be seized to explore the universe the way it can't, the way like silicon can't. Hmm. I've kind of abided by that on a more philosophical level, that every human being is a sensor to experience the world around it. That'd be kind of cool though, to find out that every human being is basically a living probe. Without wisdom, you won't have self-awareness, so you can't really be able to empathize with others and realize you should not do something. Yeah. Yep. Yep. It is wisdomlessness is wisdomless, since it is not really self-aware. So self-aware, oh, that's kind of a cool, like software, so it can't have awareness and will only attack us because it saw that in patterns that it should due to algorithmic choices. And that's the downside to AI, right? Like the AI might say, is it worth it to keep humans around? Roll random TTRPG dice. Nope. Algorithmically, maybe we're too much of a problem. That could be an issue as well. Yeah. Humanity. Okay, Martians are last, and then we're out of here. Humanity terraformed. Um, yep, breathing dust, crimson flesh. Uh, Martians are basically humans adapted to Mars and the Martian landscape. So they have filtered lungs, cold resistance, a bit of radiation resistance as well, and also membranes to keep the dust out of the lungs and the eyes. But and this was the best that AI could do for me, because I wanted them to have faces scarred by the dust on Mars and then enhanced artistically, so that the scars aren't removed, but instead they are like tattoos, they are like scarification that people are proud of. Now there's something else that the AI system couldn't do for me, and I was wondering what humans would look like if from their nostrils, as like a triangle down from their nostrils down to the past the lips and chin, it was just red because of breathing the dust in and out of their mouths and nose. They just have this stained triangular reddish part on the front of their face. And at the time that I did this, the AI imagery couldn't do it very well because it just kept making triangles and dangling. It was like, no, they're not eating triangles. It's a triangular shape, and it just couldn't do it. Anyway, this is the best I could do, and I thought it would. The idea, of course, that Martians are like Mars is like Earth 2.0 basically, and some Martians feel like you should modify your body to live on the Martian landscape versus like wearing the breathers and trying to terraform the damn place and stuff like that. There's a trinary war going on, Cold War, between the Reds, the Golds, and the Greens. The Reds want to keep Mars natural. The Greens want to terraform Mars, which they have in like a half dozen craters. They've kind of put down like moss and things like that. And the crater edges are so tall that the oxygen is heavy enough to make it a bit more viable. Um, and then the Golds are just the corporations, the extractors on Mars. So anyway, guys, this is a lot of the fluff. This is a scary looking ass image here. I swear. I wanted them to be happy, and it just looks. Let's see if I can get. Anyway, this says first families of Luna, towering, smiling trophies. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit here on their smiling faces. Come on. Oh, Yeah, you can see the artifacts. There's a facial artifact here in the eye and the teeth. AI art. Anyway, but you get the point. These are the Lunarians, moon babies, and because they were first, they're kind of honored, even though technically it's a genetic weakness. There is a social, mm, there's a social um, cast to them that has placed them above others, and so until yeah, yeah, very much so. Yeah, and they're very tall, very lanky, thin bones. They're Lunarians. They're lunar babies. Now, over time, there's been dare I say air quotes cures for this syndrome. So um, muscle atrophy and calcium deficiency and things like that have been solved, but there are still people who are born this way, or want to look this way, or are valued in this way. So now it's like they are the genetic version of a throwback. And if you are someone who is anyone, having a Lunarian on your arm is looked at as a sign of honor and prestige, kind of like the equivalent of a famous or rich person having a famous model on their arm. It's kind of like that. Come on, let me see. I'm trying to look at the. There we go. There would also be too little sun to provide the needed power on Mars, so I could see Martians being tired of needing to work so hard to get their excess energy and enact a plan to make the sun larger. Uh, there are well, not plans. There are reflectors and things like that, but yes, Mars is pretty far from the sun. So that's why it's very cold. So making the sun produce more energy so that Earth is, Mars is in the Goldilocks orbit, and the Earth gets moved out of the not Earth doesn't get moved. The Goldilocks orbit becomes moves to Mars instead of Earth's orbit would be pretty. That sounds like a really good mission. Yeah. Above others because they're so skinny they float away. Yeah. And a little bit like it's kind of wrong. You look at it and you're just like, this it bothers my brain. Yeah. This is very much that the case for them. This is very much yeah. This is it. It's like, there's and the thing is that like even with the AI imagery, I have to admit they did a good job where it's to me, they're just they're skinny enough to make them enough to look unnatural, but not that there aren't humans that are that skinny, right? There are people who are that skinny and they're just that's just their natural body form. But you look at them and go, um, hmm, maybe just one or two more sandwiches, maybe would help out. Oof. Do I have any? Yeah. We'll stop it right here. I'm gonna let you guys go. So thank you very much for being part of the show. While another faction of the Martians might choose to try and push the planet closer to the sun, it's true, regardless of if it would destabilize the Earth's orbit or not. Yeah, the former larger sun heating Earth. Yeah. Now, I've heard of the idea of like having more than one planet in the exact same orbit. I don't know how, that's a heady thing to think about, but yeah, if you could place another planet in Earth's orbit, maybe the complete opposite side of the sun to the Earth, mm, they could be claiming they were going to mine the sun to make more material available for all life in the solar system, but really they are working to feed it additional hydrogen while mining it. Yeah, there's the sun. What is it? The sun spews out materials that you could mine from the sun's corona and from solar flares. that it produces actual physical materials you could mine. It's kind of cool. Like, oh, we're just putting the hydrogen we pull out while mining the heavier elements back in the sun. Yeah, while they're slipping more hydrogen mined various places back into it. Yep. Scientifically, they could do that. Heathen says, well, I'm heading to bed. I do want to say I really like the societies you created. A lot of it is based on human hypocrisy and human foibles, and I wanted to create these different societies that the players can kind of blend into and move out of. And of course, players get to punch people in the throat because let's be honest, some of these people really need to be throat punched if you think about it. Not that I'm advocating violence in any way, but if we were to advance ourselves 300 years in the future, do I agree some of these people deserve to then be throat punched? Sure. Blame me then, but until such a time, if you live in a space habitat totally dominated by your way of life, there's a good chance you're going to get very masturbatory, incestuous kind of thoughts and feelings. And then those on the outside look that much more alien to you. And so I thought, well, what if everybody looked alien to everybody else, even if they're normal humans? So, yep. Thank you very much. This is everyone have a good time of day. Yeah, it's 7:30 in the AMs here as we speak. Shit, I hope there's a part 2 because I want to look at those monks. Yeah, there will be. They're tomorrow. Steampunk monks are steam monks? Steam monks? Yeah. Oh, so funny. I guess they do kind of look steampunky in the image. They do look, yeah. There's a little bit of steampunk in the background and whatnot. Although the feet, artifacts, right? Hands and feet look absolutely horrible. It's the best one I could find when it spit out the image. But the adrenaline. See, if you type adrenal, it looks like an adrenal system, which is true, but maybe I need an apostrophe over the A. The adrenal. An adren sounds too much like the argin, but I couldn't think of a good descriptor of a faction dedicated to mastery over the mind and body, and using technology to help in doing that. So, being able to slow your adrenal system down to go into hibernation, or feign death, or to enhance it to dump more adrenaline into your body, or have your lungs holding your breath for 35 minutes, or things like that, allowing your brain to resist like isolation syndrome or loneliness, or to allow your body to go into a state that is hyper efficient to heal yourself while your brain is constantly working to solve a problem overnight, or being able to modify your dream, your downtime dream system to allow you to I only need to have 2 hours of sleep a day, versus what I should be getting, which is 8 or something like that. There's more stuff like that. The verdants, plant like humans, and there's more verdants. The neuroforged, which I'm combining them with. I actually think their name now are cybrids. I didn't change this in a while. There we go. And there's more. They're like the cyberpunks of the world, basically. Genomancers, or are they genome answers? Genomancers? I like genome answers. They're the disease people. But anyway, guys, there's more and more. So yeah, we'll go over this stuff tomorrow. So TA says, yeah, you can focus a ton of mirrors at it and control where they focus to spew more out the poles where it can be captured. If I heard scientifically, the idea would be to make mirrors and focus them on the poles where the ice would be, and then you could melt it, I think. But you'd have to have like mirrors that were like hundreds of kilometers wide, thin, like put them up in 0G, make them very thin, like aluminum mirrors or something like that, and then you put stabilizers on them so you could, focus where they're at, and then take the sun's energy and melt the poles so you could have oceans on Mars. Stellar lifting, that's it. Yep, is the term, and John Michael Gaudier pointed out that the power calculated to do this is quite enormous, so might not be worth the effort. That has never stopped human beings from doing a thing. But there's even tungsten and tantalum in the sun, and far more of it than in the whole solar system multiple times over. Steam monks. Yeah, yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to do the whole week on it. Yeah. Steam monkeys. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Says at least you did not try to use the pituitary like the gland, supposedly being the mind's eye or third eye inside the brain. No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. It's the we can become better humans if we can. The better we control ourselves, maybe the better mastery we have of the universe, and that's the faction that does that. Oh, thanks. It's thanks for the layout. I really appreciate it. I now know that I probably won't be able to use it, but yeah. But yeah, I did want to let me go right here. So, and let me shrink it down just a little bit so you can kind of see a bigger. So, without being able to see the details, here is the layout. And so I wanted an image. There's an image and then a sub image underneath the words. So if you look really closely, you'll see that there's like a watermark underneath, like artificial general intelligence, which this actually isn't what they should be. I cut and pasted this. Let's see if I can rename this right now, right here and now. Let's do it. Okay, live. They are survive. Oops, caps. No, I don't need caps. Of, let's see, genetic manipulation, and then, but the dark side is that they are what would you call that? Disease, patient zero faction. Genomancers are people who have had such. Now I'm going to increase this here. Genomancers are people who've had been suffered through so many genetic modifications that their DNA is collapsing in on itself, and that they are constantly being rewritten all the time. And so they go through cycles of having different diseases and viruses and body transformations and things like that. And so, but they can then cultivate their body to have the features and side effects that they want. So they're carriers of disease, but they can like produce organs and become universal blood donors, things like that. It's kind of that's where they fit in. Let's see, the poles are the sun, so you focus on the equator of the sun and move their focus up and down across the equator toward the poles. Oh, yes, that's where I was getting it from. TA says the level of color on all pages makes me think more of those books that are more like an art book for a coffee table with a useful side beyond eye candy. Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for, almost like a coffee table history book, or what are those books called? The books. Have you ever seen the travel guide books? That's what I was looking at. Like the travel guidebooks, it's like, do you want to visit France? Flip 2 or 3 pages, and it kind of gives you like the overview of what France would look like and visiting the place. And they give you like all the beautiful people drinking coffee or whatnot in the in the cafes and except dark. That's what I was going for. And then I kind of I threw in this little thing here for the AI art just to let people know. And then I wanted to have like a synopsis of who they are with a little logo, um, and then a little bit of a story where they're from, a vision of where they're going, and a red spot with a skull to be like, oh, here's the bad part, and then why play one, this kind of thing, and then the mission statement, kind of like, well, what do you do? Who do you know? And I did do repeat many of these pages, like a cut and paste, because this is during the heyday of like the AI art, and I was like, I don't think people are going to tolerate this. But as a stand-in, I don't mind. But like as you actually producing this, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to actually do it. Yeah, Altons aren't technically artificial intelligence. I did cut and paste this, so yeah, yeah, yeah. Altons are actually just auto autonomous machines, basically an android. I got rid of the Nano Mage. I thought that was a little bit too out there, and I got rid of the Star Knight. It looks like a Stark Knight, but I got rid of them as well. I didn't really think that they would be a good faction, but then zeros. I'm off today, so here we go. And then I'm gonna let you guys get out of here. Oh, that's cool. A script I wrote years ago called Genome that was about advanced humans due to infiltration by another universe's humans running from a pretty awful event. That's actually kind of cool. Invasion from other humans from another universe was due to another script I wrote called Shift that was about a problem from nanotech drug that used gravitic communication. You could do a whole series, like just one named series, like Genome, Shift, Drift. What are some other forms? Fray, Run. You could come up with like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Why not? Why not? Go ahead, go for it. They just followed the info to get back to our universe, and they were way more genetically advanced due to how horrible their world had been made by biological warfare, with the deadly final blow being a fungus that is a hybrid of ergot and penicillin, so it grows everywhere and fast, but also infects, burning a person up from the inside out. Oh, so they're genetically more advanced. They burn bright and hot though, physically and literally. Like maybe they're stronger, faster, uh, but their lifespans are shorter. Is that what I'm getting? Or is it temporary? Like they pass as normal humans, but if they turn it on, they get hotter and they burn up. Is it always on, and they just have like their lifespans are like 20 years, or is it like they can activate it? I don't know. Think about it. Anyway, we'll talk about these other ones and talk about more about the character creation, because you kind of want to pick characters. Will begin the game with being able to pick 2 jackets, and you can pick up to 3, and we'll go into that tomorrow. So guys, have a great one. Thank you very much for being part of the damn show. I think you're here just a little bit too long. So I'm going to let you go, and we'll talk tomorrow. uh Ta always bringing it. Edwin too, mostly due to suppressed by humans. They are not mostly pretty rather hard. Or like dude from the Star Wars universe. Ah, to people who are nearly blind due to deformity to their eyes, making them nearsighted, but they can see heat and such. That's really cool. That's also a great way to describe like a human like handicap or something, and then you and the people that don't know that that's going on are just like, oh, and there's like that underestimated thing, but then you realize like, oh, Jabba the Hutt. Okay, I get it. Yeah, 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 yeah. You're just like, who? I know our brain, or sometimes you get a brain fart and you're just like, who's that person from that thing that was in that thing that, it's on the tip of the tongue. Yeah, I do that all the time. I do that all the time. Well, anyway, guys, I'm going to let you go. We're going to say goodbye with our little outro for Obsidian Star, but you guys take it easy. I know I've gone very long in this one. We're just going to have some more fun and have some more thoughtful pieces in this, and then yeah. Anyway, I hope this encourages you guys, especially if you're like into science fiction. I don't care if you're into science fiction or fantasy tabletop role-playing games, but just to be inspired and you know, kind of pull from that as well. So guys, I'll see you later. Peace and tranquility. Oh, let me put my dumb face up here. I'll see you later. Bye. Mm-mm-mm. Ta, you love to go on. There's a Oh wow, that's really cool. I really like that. There was a short-lived comic book series called Life Force Moriarty, where humans were fighting against an alien invasion or something, and they needed soldiers, and they could enhance human beings, but you only had 1 year to live, and you would become this super powerful person, but at the end of it, you had 1 year to live. Yeah. Yeah, the drug makes him sort of like a Flash while using it and stronger, etc. So he does not care. Normal humans die within months of starting to use it. Ah, I get that. That's awesome. I like stories like that. I like the gift with the dark with that dark element to it. Like, hey, you've got all these benefits, but you know what? There's this dark side. Yeah, I like that. So anyway, guys, have a great one. I'll see you later tomorrow. Peace. Bye.